It's the Omer Countdown. The final countdown.
Hello everybody, it's day 27 of the Omer Countdown. And my mama called me. She said, what do you mean by Omer? What does it mean? Okay, so Omer comes from Leviticus 23 verse 10. And when Jesus rose from the grave, the Feast of First Fruits, you're supposed to wave a sheaf offering. Well, that word in Hebrew for sheaf is actually Omer. That starts the 50-day Omer count to Pentecost, Feast of Weeks. Pentecost is Feast of Weeks. If you hear anybody say that Pentecost is not Feast of Weeks, I'm here to say very much in love that is incorrect. Pentecost is Feast of Weeks. And just pay attention to that. And anyway, so that starts the Omer countdown because that wave sheaf offering, Leviticus 23 verse 10, is Omer. It's the word Omer. So we're supposed to count 7 Sabbaths. Sabbath 1, Sabbath 2, that's 14. Sabbath 3, that's 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. That's day 27 of 50. And we're getting close there. Come on there, buddy. There you go. That's Felipe. Hopefully this is the day of the rapture. We don't know, though. We don't know. Let me show you some amazing math. Again, here's our chart. Day 27 of 50. We started April 20th. That's the day we remember Christ rose from the grave. Don't worry about a scene calendar or other books. Let's just read the Bible and get to our dates, okay? So Sunday, April 20th, add 50 days. Bam. June 8th. All right, let me show you this amazing chart. Okay, so we've talked about the timetables. This is the 9 times table, all right? And so there is just way more math that is so incredible in this timetable. It's so perfect. 2025 is such a special number. God created numbers. He's got a book called Numbers. He is very detailed. He is precise, he's accurate, and this is incredible. So point number 1, we already talked about this. The total sum of all these numbers here is 2025. If you add up all the sums of all these numbers, it gets you to 2025. That is already incredible. It's like, drop the mic and take off. Okay, but there's way more. The total outsides, 45 times 45 is 2025. So 1 through 9, you add that all up, it equals 45. 1 through 9, 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the way to the 9. That gets you to 45. So in other words, 45 times 45 is 2025. Okay, so we've already talked about that. That's incredible. But there's way more. I've got 17 things to share here. Okay, number 3. Add each column, and it's a multiple of 45. So if you add this right here, that gets you to 45. If you add up all these numbers, it's a total of 90, and it's a multiple of 45. If you add up all these numbers, it adds up to 135, and it's a multiple of 45. 45 times 3. If you add up all these numbers, that's 180. It's a multiple of 45. If you add up all these numbers, it's 225. It's a multiple of 45. It's 45 times 5, etc. You guys get the drill. Every column adds up to 45. Of course, if you add up all these columns, it gets to 2025. You could do the same thing vertically for the rows, and you'll get the same thing. You'll get the exact same thing in that direction too. That is incredible. Okay, so I just said point 3 and point 4. Okay, so multiply each column, and it's a multiple of 45. So if you multiply 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5, you get to some ridiculous number, and then you can divide it by 45, okay? And if you multiply 18 times 16 times 14 times 12 times 10 times 8 times 6 times 4 times 2, I'll give you an example of this, okay? I'll just show you right here. And so I'll just do row 2 as an example. So 18 times 16 times 14 times 12 times 10 times 8 times 6 times 4 times 2 equals some ridiculous number. And then you do that and you divide it by 45 and there's no remainders. Okay, you get it? So all these rows multiplied by each other gets to some ridiculous number and they're all divisible by 45 with no remainders. That is incredible. And of course, you could do the same thing with the rows. You can go that way and it's exactly the same thing. Okay, number 7, multiply diagonal. It's a multiple of 45. Okay, so 9 times 16 times 21 times 24 times 25 times 24 times 21 times 16 times 9 gets you to some ridiculous number, and then you can divide it by 45. Multiply this angle. It gets you to some ridiculous number, and it's a multiple of 45. You guys can do this during this video. You can get out your calculators like I did, and you can test what I'm saying, and you'll find that it's true. Okay. Add both the diagonals. It's a total of 45. So if you add all these numbers, or 450 I should say, it adds up to 450, which is divisible by 10, and it's a multiple of 45. So if you add up all these right here, and then you add up all these right here at an angle, it adds up to 450, and it's divisible by 45. That is incredible. And the reason why we care about all these 45s is because 45 is the square root of 2025. Everything points to 2025 in our basic math. And these are all the single digits in our math. Math is the universal language. So amazing. Okay, number 10, multiply the corners and the center, and that's equals 2025. This was given to me by Brother Ken. Thanks, Brother Ken. So 1 times 25 times 81 equals 2025. The other corners, 9 times 25 times 9 equals 2025. All right. Okay, so this is now, we're in a different category now of thought, okay? So this last thing, you're going to have to try and use your imagination a little bit here. So here, let me help out a little bit. Let me just get a marker. We're going to divide these in nice squares. This is going to help you understand where I'm getting at here. So every block is now a total of 9 blocks. And you're going to see something cool. Okay, so you can see that. If you add all this up, or okay, I see what I did here. Okay, I actually flipped this around. Okay, so anyway, if you add up all this, that's 36. If you add up all that, that's 90. And if you add all that, that's 144. My apologies. I wrote it like upside down. It's still, it means the exact same thing. This is a value of 360, 225, and 90. This is a value of 43, 360, and 144. Okay, so if you multiply the rows, 144 times 360 times 43, it gets you to some ridiculous number, and it's divisible by 45 with no remainders. If you multiply 90 times 225 times 360, it gets you to some ridiculous number, divided by 45, no remainders. If you multiply these, it gets you to some big number, and it's divisible by 45. It's a multiple of 45. So you can multiply the rows, and you're good. You can multiply the columns, you can multiply columns, and you're good. Multiply the rows, and it's same thing. It gets you to a high number. They're all divisible by 45. Multiply the diagonals. You're good. It's a multiple of 45, divisible. If you add 360 plus 225 plus 90 plus 90 plus 360, I'll just do that right now because that's an easy number to do. So that's a multiple of 45. So 360 plus 225. So and plus 90, and Jesus died on a cross, you know. And so we're just adding the center ones that have the shape of a cross. And that's that, and you can divide that by, whoops, just press equals, and then divide that. So it's divisible by 45, 25 times. Add up all these sums, divisible by 45. Okay, And then you can multiply any 4 boxes. So if you multiply these 4 together, you get the sum, it's divisible by 45. You multiply these, get the sum, divisible by 45. Multiply these 4 boxes, it's some number, it's divisible by 45. Multiply these 4 boxes, it's some big number, and it's divisible by 45. So, like, math is the universal language. These are all our single-digit numbers. These numbers represent all of the numbers that we use. I found, like, 17 prime ways that it equals 45, which is the square root of 2025. You're not going to get this with any other year. This is quite incredible. This is really quite incredible. God invented numbers. He invented science. He made the world. He knows how many stars are in the sky. He knows how many hairs are on your head. He is certainly in charge of his timeline. I don't know when the rapture is going to be or what year it's going to be, but wow, 2025 is a very, very special number, clearly. So hopefully this is the year, and hopefully this inspired you to look at numbers in the Bible. He is very calculated. All right, well, we're one day closer. Go Jesus, go, and I hope to see you in the clouds soon. Adios, muchachos.